Hi friends, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Allison, and if you're not new here, thanks for coming back, babe. Today we have another monthly reads recap, and I am excited. If you watched my What I Read in July video, I think I read like 7 books, and a lot of which were fantasies. August was a bit of a shorter month for reads for me because the books that I did read were quite hefty. I only read 4 books in August, but don't click out because they were good and you're gonna want to hear about them. Also, yes, I did get a haircut. I asked for long wispy curtain bangs and long layers, and I came out with front bangs and a 90s shag haircut. So we're working with it. So I think what I'm gonna do for some of these is the first part where I talk about the book, I'm gonna give the Goodreads synopsis and I'm gonna tell you my rating, and then there's gonna be a second part of each book where I tell you, if you haven't read this book, skip ahead. Not that I'm gonna give any spoilers, but I wanna talk about how I felt about certain things. And if you haven't read the book yet, I don't want to give anything away for you. I'm a person who likes to go into books almost completely blind, so I just wanted to keep that in mind. So my first read of August, it took me about half of the month. It took me 2 weeks to read, and it was Heir of Fire by Sarah J Maas. Depending on which way you read Throne of Glass series, this was the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series for me. I'm now moving on to Assassin's Blade. Some people choose to read Assassin's Blade first. I, however, did not do that, and I'm very happy I read it in this order. If you haven't read up to Heir of Fire yet in Throne of Glass, I would just skip ahead because I don't want to give anything away. I doubt it will, but I just don't want to ruin it for you at all. This is the Goodreads synopsis for Heir of Fire. Before I get started, if you want to add me on Goodreads, it'll be up here, but will also be, it's somewhere up here, but it's also always linked in the descriptions of all my videos, so add me on Goodreads. Okay, this is the Goodreads synopsis. Selena has survived deadly contests and shattering heartbreak, but at an unspeakable cost. Now she must travel to a new land to confront her darkest truth. A truth about her heritage that could change her life and her future forever. Meanwhile, brutal and monstrous forces are gathering on the horizon. Intent on enslaving her world, will Selena find the strength to not only fight her inner demons, but to take on the evil that is about to be unleashed. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 rating. The reason why I didn't give it 5 out of 5 was because it did feel kind of slow to me at parts. That's how a lot of the Throne of Glass books are for me. Like, the first half of the book feels a bit slow. Not boring, but slow, where I just I'm like, I know we're building to something, dude. And we are. Also, I was a bit confused in this book because I just don't think I read clearly. Because there's sometimes where I'm like, I've missed something. And there's a new character, well, there's a few new characters introduced, but one of them is this person named Manon, and she's a witch, and she has no relation to Selena, at least for right now. And we have a few chapters about her and her witch clan, but I'm just like, why? There's no explanation as to why we're getting chapters about Manon. I love this woman to death, and we get to go on the journey of wyverns are introduced, and I love it because that gives very 4th wing to me. But we also get introduced to a new character named Rowan. Let me tell you something, I'm in love with that man. This was my verbal review of it. Dear God. Period. I'm so intrigued to see how Manon and the Black Beaks, that's Manon's witch clan, play into the rest of the series. I'm in love with Rowan, and nothing more needs to be said about that. There's so much more I could say about how good this book was / this entire series is. I'm so wrapped up in it, it's insane. Sarah J Maas is a true mastermind, which is so true. I hope me saying I'm in love with Rowan it's not a spoiler. I mean, you know when you get introduced to a character and you're like, I know you're hot. We know as soon as Rowan steps foot into this series that he's fine as hell. But that's all I'm gonna say there. And I'm not even gonna go into any spoilers because if you haven't started reading Throne of Glass, you absolutely have to. I have Assassin's Blade here, and surprisingly, I only read 1 Throne of Glass book this month. I'm really trying to drag it out because there's 8 books in the series. I've read 3 of them, so I have 5 books left. If I can stick to reading 1 book a month, that will carry me out until Crescent City 3 comes out, and I'm trying to make that happen. without further ado, that leads us into my next book of the month. The next one is called Funny Feelings by Tara Dewitt. This was my least favorite read of the month. It's not a bad book if you are into if you're just into regular romances. This is a good one for you. It was nothing special for me. That's sort of the thing. I don't even want to give you the Goodreads synopsis for this. It's basically just this young comedian. I think she's in her early 20s or mid 20s or something like that. Her name is Farley Jones, and she is like in love with her manager, but they're also like best friends, and he's a retired comedian. He's a single dad. He's basically just like the hot older manager. His name is Meyer, and it is dual perspective, which I love. And basically they're both in love with each other, but Farley thinks that there's no point in going after Meyer because he's always made jokes about her being too young, and she doesn't think he could ever be interested in her. And Meyer's like, no, I can't do this because like I'm her manager, I can't ruin anything for her. And it's just this whole thing of like, will they ever pursue their feelings? What are we gonna do? And we're going through the career of Farley and seeing Meyer as a single dad. It's a cutesy romance. It's really refreshing. There's like no toxicity in it. I enjoyed it. But it was just a bit slow because now that I read like fantasy books, and also now that I've read I have my favorite book boyfriends in the world, it's kind of hard for me to just read regular schmegular cutesy romances at this point. Like there has to be either some sort of trauma or like you have to be over the top with how good of a book boyfriend you are. Don't get me wrong, Meyer's a great book boyfriend, but I'm kind of over I don't want to say I'm over the slow burn, because this was a slow burn for sure. It was slow burn, it was forbidden love, it was like all of the things, but it just didn't wow me. I don't know if it was the writing, I don't know if it was the plot, I don't know what it was. It didn't wow me, but it is a good book. I gave it 3 stars because I'm just like, meh. And also, please know that my romance rating is different from my fantasy rating. Like if I say a romance book is 5 stars, you cannot compare that to my fantasy 5 stars. It can't be. If you know, you know. The third book that I read this month, and this was my favorite book of the month, who also contains my favorite book boyfriend, is The Right Move by Liz Tomford. I don't know if I've talked to you about Liz Tomford before. I had to have. I want to make a whole video on my favorite book boyfriends, or like my favorite books in general, my favorite romance books, and then a separate one for my favorite fantasy books. But Liz Tomford is one of my favorite romance authors. She writes the best damn romance books, and she also writes the best book boyfriends. The reason why I love her book so much is because, one, the men in it, but the way they treat their women, it's what we all want and deserve. The plots are incredible. Number 3, it's like the perfect amount of slow burn, the perfect amount of tension. She gives us what we want, perfect amount of spice. That, like, it's not too smutty. Like, if you've ever read The Ritual, that's just like, dear God. I mean, it's not my cup of tea. I don't love a book that's only smut. There's another book called Pucking Around. Everyone in the sports books, like smutty community, loves it. I couldn't finish that book because it was just smut. I need the perfect balance of slow burn, of smut, and of plot. Liz Tomford knows exactly how to do that. Number 2 in the Windy City series, the first one is Mile High. That's with Evan Zanders and, what's her name? Oh, Stevie Shea. I absolutely loved that book. You need to go read it. I don't know why it took me so long to read this one, because after Mile High, I went into reading Becoming Selfish and then Staying Selfless, which isn't a part of the Windy City series. It's separate, but it involves the same characters. The main characters in this are Ryan Shea and Indy. I don't know her last name, but Ryan Shea is Stevie Shea's brother. So as you can see, like, we already know the main characters because Indy is also Stevie's best friend. Basically, Ryan is in the NBA and Indy is a flight attendant for an NHL hockey team. Stevie, Ryan's sister, worked with Indy. They were both flight attendants and they're best friends. And Indy goes through a really rough breakup. She caught her boyfriend cheating on her. Boyfriend of 6 years, thought she was gonna marry the man. And now she has nowhere to live. Stevie was living with her brother, but then moved out and in with her partner, Evan Zanders, which you would know if you read Mile High. And she's like, Ryan, you have to let my best friend Indy move in with you, blah, 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 blah. Slow burn, grumpy sunshine, sort of. He's not really grumpy, but sort of. Ryan Shea is one of my favorite book boyfriends now. Also, the smut in this, Howling at the Full Moon, bitch. It is so good. Oh, also it's fake dating. Sorry, I completely forgot. But Ryan is the captain of an NBA team, and he's a great captain. He's an incredible basketball player, but his team manager, the general manager, is like, he just needs the family element with the team, and just basketball is all he has essentially, and there needs to be more to him. So Ryan has this idea that he's gonna get traded if he doesn't become a better captain, and his general manager thinks he needs a woman to like help him become a better captain, or like a family or a life outside of basketball. So he decides to blurt out, I have a girlfriend, she's right over there, and he says Indy is his girlfriend. So then they have to go into fake dating, and then they both start sort of catching feelings for one another, and it's awesome. Indy's a hopeless romantic. Ryan thinks he doesn't believe in love, but also he has a history there, and we're very familiar with Indy's past and her traumas regarding relationships, but we can tell that Ryan also has one. He doesn't really trust people because he's a massive basketball player. It's a great book. Please go read it. Ryan Shea is gonna be your favorite book boyfriend, I think, of all time. I gave that 5 stars on my romance because it's just like, yeah, Liz Tomford writes my favorite romance novels, some of them. I love all of her books. Please go read them. My favorites of hers are Becoming Selfish and Staying Selfless, just because I relate so much to the female main character Logan, and Eli Madison is my all-time favorite romance book boyfriend. Can't say all-time favorite book boyfriend because that would go ahead and be Cassian. I can't put Cassian in the same category as a human. Cassian can fly. Obviously, the Lord of Bloodshed is my favorite book boyfriend, but whatever. So I had a big book hangover from this, and I wasn't ready to dive into Assassin's Blade yet because I've also just been at a place where like I'm unsatisfied with my dating life. I've been going on lots of dates recently. Go watch my vlogs. And I'm just like, I just want, like, I want this connection with someone, so I've been reading romance to fill the void. Which is what I've always done, but aren't we all? And I also just am trying to like make Throne of Glass last longer, so I was like, okay, I need more Ryan Shea, basically. So then I was like profusely googling and trying to figure out who like everyone's favorite book boyfriends are. I've read all of them. Everyone's favorite book boyfriends are either like Ryan Shea's up there, Aaron Warner from the Shatter Me series, Zayden Ryerson from Fourth Wing, like all men. Okay, yes, I know them. Please comment down below your favorite book boyfriends or your favorite romances that you think I would really enjoy. So next I went into Say You Swear, which is another sports romance. I just finished this one last night, which is perfect because today is September 1st. So apparently my Kindle is connected to Goodreads. I didn't know that because you can see my highlights. I highlighted this one. It says, I'm a smart man, Juliet, he whispers, his gaze dropping to my lips. Only a fool would let you go once they had you where they wanted you. Really. It says, a college romance. For years I've dreamt of what college life could bring, and while some things changed, there was always one constant. It didn't matter how wild I allowed my imagination to run. It always led me to the same place in the end. It led me to him. My future was clear and he was it, until suddenly he wasn't. Now I'm a shell of who I was, on a path too blurry to follow, and I see no way out, no way up. I hate that synopsis, so forget I even said that. Basically, it's a college romance. Our girl, Ariana. Well, I don't know how much I want to tell you. I don't want to tell you anything about Say You Swear because I'll just say the book boyfriend in this is one of my favorite book boyfriends. This book got a 4 out of 5 for me. It's college romance, it's sports romance, love that. It's a really good book boyfriend. There's like some trauma involved. It's a man who's in touch with his emotions. It's a man who knows what he wants the second he sees it, and he does whatever he can. It's a man who respects his woman. I adored this book. I will say there's a part in it where I'm like, I need it to resolve, but you should definitely read it. I don't even want to tell you, I can't tell you anything. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay friends, so those are the 4 books I read in August. I hope you liked this video. Please let me know what you read in August, what you're currently reading, what's on your September to be read list. Let me know if you prefer my recaps of what I read, or if you also want to see my to be read list for the upcoming month, and then at the end we can reflect, see what I read, see how I felt about them. Let me know. If there's any specific types of videos you want to see from me, let me know. If there's any book related videos you want to see from me, let me know. I hope you had a wonderful August. I hope you have a great start to your September. Fall is here, babe. Fall has fell. Anyways, friends, Thank you so much for watching. Please leave this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram at @theAliceOnTheRoo, and I will see you next week for a thrift haul. Okay, friends, you deserve healthy love. Bye.